At Safeway, we partner with trusted top-quality growers for hand-picked fruits and vegetables harvested at the peak of flavor from farm to you. Visit our produce department today and see how we're perfecting the art of fresh.
A concert you'll never forget. Starring Tony. Flex the Love. Saturday, May 7th, Stockton Arena. Also starring Drew Hill. Dwight Murphy presents Stockton Music Jam. A special guest, John B. Plus, Baby Bash. With Frankie J. And Donnell Jones. Plus 112. Also added Changing Faces. The Stockton Music Jam. Saturday, May 7th. Tickets at Ticketmaster and the Stockton Arena. Turn it out, Stockton. Don't miss this show. Another Dwight Murphy presents.
Just had a DJ Quickies.
Enjoy your Sonic.
Dang, son. This bacon is just hanging out of this burger, dog.
That nice, tangy smoked sauce.
The bacon on this burger is just asking me to eat it.
You should oblige.
Bring home the bacon with the Sonic Bacon on Bacon quarter-pound double cheeseburger. Stacked with 4 slices of crispy bacon and covered in tangy smoked sauce. Try one half price in the app for a limited time only at Sonic.
And can't afford to pay? Then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-519-6360. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-519-6360 for the help that you need. Call 800-519-6360 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-519-6360.
Unbelievable bandwidth. Welcome to another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper-gig speeds. Say hello to the Walkers, a family of not 1 but 4 Gagillionaires, each living up their Gagillionaire life at ludicrous internet speed. First up, Anna Walker. She dominates streaming like the matriarch she is. No show ever goes unwatched under her watch.
Next episode.
Next up, Peter Walker. There's no stopping this dad bod from showing up to his virtual workout sessions.
Let's go leg day.
And finally, the Walker twins. They may look alike but couldn't internet more differently. Harry dominates his fellow online gamers while Heather group video chats with friends.
Ooh, nice background filter, Jess.
Live like a Gagillionaire. Get internet that upgrades everything. AT&T Fiber, now with speeds up to 5 gigs.
Limited availability in select areas. Speeds not guaranteed. Single device wired speed. Max 4.7 gig per second. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
It's someone buying a brand new car. A new car loses roughly 50% of its value in the first 3 years. That means 50% is money you're throwing down the garbage disposal. But if you buy a great used car with Shift.com, this is what it sounds like. And Shift brings the test drive to you. So be smart. Don't throw your money down the drain with a new car. Visit Shift.com and choose a super streamlined used car buying process.
Trust the name you know. WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com can help you get up to $2,500 whenever you need it. WeFixMoney.com is still there to help you get the emergency cash you need. If you're looking for cash for credit card bills, car repairs, child care, travel, or any other reason, go to WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com has been helping customers for over 13 years and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. It's free to use, available 24/7, and you are never required to accept any loan offered. Some lenders even offer same-day funding. Fill out the form in the morning, and you could get cash that afternoon. So if you or a loved one needs emergency cash up to $2,500, go to WeFixMoney.com today. WeFixMoney.com respects your privacy and maintains the highest standards for a safe and secure experience. If you need up to $2,500, go to WeFixMoney.com. Trust the name you know. WeFixMoney.com.
Experience in the MVNO segment.
Huh. Award-winning service has a nice ring to it. Say it again.
Award-winning service.
Ooh, again.
Hear ye, hear ye. Announcing 2 more reasons to switch to cricket and their award-winning service.
Wow, it does have a nice ring to it. Switch and see for yourself.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Goodbye, bench press. Adios, squat rack. Fare thee well, kettlebell.
Hey, Kellen, need a spot?
No, Jake from State Farm. I'm just saying goodbye to my pricey gym membership.
What? Don't give up what you love. State Farm has options like insuring your home and ride with great rates on both.
Nice. Hey, can I buy you a protein shake or a granola bar or...
For surprisingly great rates, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Macy's one-day sale has great deals of the day, like 60% off cookware from Martha Stewart Collection, Sedona, and more. Pick out some new sparkle with 60% off select Effie Fine jewelry. Then add designer suits to his rotation, now 50 to 60% off. Plus, Star Rewards members earn rewards even faster during Macy's Star Money Bonus Days going on now. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply. They're fighters. They give us something to believe in, and they do it all with grace and grit. They are women, and with our Women's History Month collection on Xfinity Flex, we're all about hyping them up. Get fierce with boss women in shows like Killing Eve, The Gilded Age, and more. Feel empowered by stories that sparked a movement in free Zumo movies like RBG, Memoirs of a Black Girl, and more. Or sing along with your favorite female artists with iHeart-Radio's See Her, Hear Her playlist. Just say Women's History Month into your Xfinity voice remote.
At Gilmore Heating, Air, and Plumbing, Darren and his daughters are planning ahead.
All right, girls, what is the marketing plan?
Dad, we think it's time to bring in a consultant.
A consultant?
Yeah, we need a fresh set of eyes.
But this is a family affair. We don't want some outsider.
This person is an expert that always delivers and always has our back.
You're bringing in Mom?
Boom.
Come on, girls.
You get more with Gilmore. Visit GilmoreAir.com today.
This year, 1, there are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits on the table. 2, you have to file for them to make sure you get the right amount. 3, a Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will help track down every credit you deserve. Tax credits for being a parent, taking care of a parent, going to school, and so much more. You don't want to miss out on thousands. Jackson Hewitt knows that. Discover thousands in tax credits and get your biggest refund guaranteed. Learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
Macy's one-day sale has great deals of the day, like 60% off cookware from Martha Stewart Collection, Sedona, and more. Pick out some new sparkle with 60% off select Effie Fine jewelry. Then add designer suits to his rotation, now 50 to 60% off. Plus, Star Rewards members earn rewards even faster during Macy's Star Money Bonus Days going on now. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
Let the team of tax professionals at Superior Tax Relief help.
Prior to calling Superior Tax Relief, I owed the IRS $33,000. My wages had just been garnished. Superior Tax Relief put a stop to the garnishment and was able to resolve my tax problem. I walked away owing close to nothing. I would highly recommend Superior Tax Relief. They saved my life.
The IRS is ramping up its debt collection efforts, so make sure you have a team on your side to negotiate your tax liability and protect you from the added fees. Call Superior Tax Relief now to find out how you can qualify for the Fresh Start program. Call before it's too late. Call 800-299-2201. The consultation is free. The information is free. The only thing you have to lose is overwhelming debt. Call 800-299-2201. That's 800-299-2201.
When kids have trouble sleeping,
Mom, I can't sleep. Dad, just one more story?
For nights like this, try Vicks Pure Z's Kids. Our great-tasting gummies are specially formulated for kids with a unique blend of botanicals and a low dose of melatonin to support their natural sleep cycle. Best of all, they're drug-free and non-habit forming. Help your child fall asleep naturally with Pure Z's Kids Gummies. Consult with a doctor before use. For ages 4 and up.
Celebrate you, the change makers, innovators, and visionaries, uplifting their communities. If that's you, you won't want to miss the chance to power even greater possibilities. Enter the AT&T Black Future Makers Contest for a chance to win $10,000 and an AT&T 5G-enabled device. You got this. Learn more at attdreaminblack.com/contest.
Let's get
you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love sports. All friend level work. Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, de Bitty Bitty Beachy. I love to say welcome to the show. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealer. Home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade. It's the end of the world when you go by and check out your something. Big C Sports Center. I also want to say happy birthday! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday! And I wish you many, many more. A happy birthday to my beautiful daughter Daisy on a beautiful March 11th, 2022. Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, de Bitty Bitty Beachy. I love wishing happy birthday to Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. It's like that enough. All friend level work. You can follow Big C Sports all around the universe on 23 podcast applications from Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeart-Radio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, and also number 10, Podchaser. Give me some praise. I made it to 10. It's not as easy as it sounds. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on GeoSavan Podcast out of London, England, Podtail Podcast, Hubhopper Podcast, YouTube Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminaria Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, and the only one that scares me is AllFeast.ai. Give it some praise. The robots and computers are taking over. I love giving a praise. They're going to take over eventually. In fact, they already have all friend level work. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming on 4 TV applications all over the universe. You can find Big C Sports Podcast streaming on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. I love paying homage to my family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandmother called her a mamo. Just a wonderful, smart, beautiful, loving woman. Made sure the family stuck strong together. Always had food in our belly. And sometimes even finding the need to say, boy, go get me a switch. Really do appreciate her. And then my beautiful great-grandfather called him Pop, former Negro League baseball player, well known throughout the church as making the best moonshine in the history of the universe. And also saying, boys, get out of that barn before lightning strikes. It still makes me laugh. Some of the things that young kids do. We used to put water in his moonshine. All's friend, love, and war. And then my grandmother, Muddia, a wonderful person, very smart, beautiful, a seer. She can look at people and tell you oftentimes about their past, their present, and their future. Really do appreciate her. And then my grandfather, Hezekiah, another wonderful gentleman, really doing everything they could to keep the family strong. And then my beautiful mother, the most beautiful mother in the history of the universe. Always saying Rise and Shine started a Head Start program, a food program, and also helped win the Little League Championship of the universe. Give Mama some praise. I say praise, praise, praise. Shout out from the mountains up. I'm telling you, amazing. Always saying Rise and Shine. Really do appreciate Mama. And then on my father's side, the patriarch of the family, Albert Curry, my grandfather, former pastor, had 2 churches in Oakland, California, built a 3rd one in Central California, also owned 2 service stations in Oakland, California. Very smart, industrious, hardworking man. Always helped by my grandmother, Alberta Curry, side by side, helping with the 2 churches in Oakland and the building of a 3rd church in Central California, and then also running the 2 gas stations in Oakland. Really do appreciate her. And then my beautiful brother, Todd. Oh my goodness, his voice sounds like thunder and lightning with top his big bombastic voice. As I often say, our favorite movie was actually Scarface, but it was too violent. So we settled on Pulp Fiction. And one of his favorite scenes in the boxing round, when Vin Rames told Bruce Willis, your butt goes down in the 4th round. He said, say that, blip. And then he said, that stinking sensation you're feeling, that's pride messing with you. Well, flop pride. I love saying that. Gives me a laugh. If not anybody else, at least me. Flop pride. Really do appreciate that. But that was a great movie. And then I love paying homage. Todd always said, go forward, all's fair in love and war. And then I love saying about my beautiful daughter, Daisy, the happy birthday girl, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. Daisy actually helped start the first interview with Big C Sports at Salem Media. Really do appreciate her, and would help me set up when college coaches would come to the West Coast to work with Big C Sports. Really do appreciate her as she rises and shines. A college graduate, graduated with honors, 2 degrees in 3.5 years. Very smart, industrious, hardworking, and I love just saying, I love you very much, Daisy. I love you more than life itself. I want to also say to my very handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. I'll tell you, Malcolm's a college student, a sophomore in college, a tall, beautiful young man, very smart, ambitious, hardworking. Malcolm, never let anyone come between you and your family. Wakanda forever. One of our favorite movies was Black Panther. Really do appreciate Malcolm oftentimes with some of these stats on NBA basketball. Knows NBA inside and out. He's all over it. Really do appreciate Malcolm, a great man in life. And then I want to say thank you to Big C with all of his wealth of knowledge over the years. You got to give everybody some praise. Give everybody praise. I really do appreciate all the help with Big C Sports. I love saying what my grandfather started back in the day, my great-grandfather, let's get ready to rumble. He would always say that. Well, welcome to the show, ESPY-nominated Big C Sports Podcast. No producer in my ear, no 3-way teleprompters, no scripts. I do the show with my higher self. I do it fresh daily like the Krispy Kreme donut that come off the conveyor belt. Nobody wants 3-day-old donuts. They want fresh. Big C Sports is fresh, just like coffee coming out of the cup in the morning. The best part of waking up is Big C coffee in your cup. That's my opinion. 3 sugars, 3 creams. Maybe got to cut back some of the sugar. I always honor God, and I walk and talk by faith and not by sight. I really want to say it's important that the show goes on all the time, and realizing as I was watching another person doing the show, and even when I started, there was always producers, like a producer, and then you had people doing stats. You had people gathering news information. They had several computers around so they could pull the information off, and oftentimes people would just sit there and wait for someone to hand them information. Nothing wrong with that. But I produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast the shows. Now, the sound effects are provided by the platform provided by the agency. We can all use more laughter in our lives. Really do appreciate that as we rise and shine. And then I provide the stats are done, the storytelling. And as I spoken to it last night, Steph Curry for 3 in Denver. It went over 20,000 points in his professional NBA basketball. I was actually doing a meeting today, and they asked me what I just put in Curry. And they said, what's your first name? I said, Curry. He said, what's your last name? I said, Curry. I said, if you ever think about Steph Curry for 3, just think about my name and send me some leads for business. So may as well play off of the best shooter in the history of the NBA basketball universe. Really do appreciate that. But at the same time, so much has happened in sports. Really do appreciate baseball coming back. I upload the show. It goes to the agency in New York City, and then goes out to 23 podcast applications all over the world, and then 4 TV applications. And I never missed a show since starting Big C Sports back on with a group of people back on September 12th, 2015. And you can now find it on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV. It's all there to be seen, and I really do appreciate it. I think I'm the only sports show, I really do, and I might be wrong, but I think I'm the only sports show in the universe that's always honoring God. I heard so much about the God growing up, and I always say, pray, pray, pray. My mother always told me that over the years. And then God said in Genesis 13:15, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. And the book of James, chapter 4, verse 2, said, you have not because you ask not. If you want something, you got to make sure you ask. And there's another thing that came to my mind. Oftentimes, people are afraid of speaking. They say that public speaking is one of the number one fears of anyone out there. No matter what they're doing, people are afraid of public speaking. But I'm not. It's amazing. I'm just not. I wasn't always this way. But something about drinking, when I get up in the morning and I drink that Big C cup of coffee, it makes you bold. It makes you feel so good. But I'm telling you, even Moses, you think about Moses, the 10 Commandments, but Moses was afraid of speaking. And God gave Moses order to speak to some people, and he said, I'm afraid. And God told Moses in Exodus 4:12, I will help you speak, And I will teach you what to say when you're afraid of something. Just ask God for help and God to praise and just do it anyway. All fair and love and work. We appreciate how things are done in life. And I really do love doing the Big C Sports Podcast over and over and over and over again, as I really do appreciate the growth having with the platform. I also want to say thank you to the California Lottery. I'm supposed to win that lottery. I'm supposed to win it. I keep asking for it. Like that old lady that sold me the ticket. I took $5 for a $2 ticket a couple days ago on International Women's Day. All's fair and love and war. But I thank the California Lottery, Fantasy 5, Powerball, Mega Millions, Super Lotto for all they've done. And for people who may have a gambling problem, Coach Mariucci, Steve Mariucci, former head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, did a PSA during the playoffs for NFL football. And he talked about people who get in over their head with gambling. And if you need any help, he gave out an 800 number. It's called 800-GAMBLER. That's 800-GAMBLER. Oftentimes, people don't know how to quit. You don't let someone drink and drive. You call a cab, a taxi, Uber, whatever it is. As long as they listen. Some people won't listen. They want to learn the hard way. Same thing with gambling. If someone has a gambling problem, just give them that number, 800-GAMBLER. Whether they call it or not, I guess all we can do is do our part. But it was back on May 14th, 2008, the Supreme Court made betting legal in most states, and even Major League Baseball and the NBA, they are lobbying to get sports betting organizations all throughout the United States. They wager legal sports books across the United States. And I'm sure many more sports leagues are a part of it. But if you have issues where you're just in over your head, you need some help, you don't want to go to other people, 800-GAMBLER. That's 800-GAMBLER, and you can get some help. I also want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones or electronic devices all over the world and just say play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see the apps pop up all over the world, and I really do appreciate that with Big C Sports. I also want to say Google Forbes top sports agents all over the country, and the top sports agents last year generated over $41.2 billion in contracts. That paid out commissions of over $2 billion. Really do appreciate that. I've been recruited into that industry with Big C Sports. One of the top black sports marketing agents in the country has invited me in to be a part of that platform. Just got to complete my certifications, being able to work with some of the top NFL, NBA, and Major League Football athletes all over the United States. Really do appreciate that. And then something else that I'm very happy to do, sometimes it even kind of slips my mind as to why it's so important. We think about our veterans all the time, and we want to give our veterans praise. We always say thank you for your service, but oftentimes they need to know, what do I do if I need help? There's a Veterans Crisis Hotline, and rumor has it they will stand on their head to get you some help. If you know any veterans going through anything, and it could even be the person in the mirror. They help veterans and their loved ones. They are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones. 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and get some help and give the Veterans Crisis Hotline some praise. They do a good job helping people. Our first responders are always there helping people, and they're just asking you pick up the phone and make the call. And been doing that with Big C Sports Podcast for about 3 years now. And with everything going on in the Ukraine, with Russia, I really do realize people have a lot of anxiety. And obviously, we all need help. That's why I love giving out that PSA, and I hope it helps somebody. I also want to say thank you to Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% honest game. Sports fans, when you're watching the big game, you want to eat the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat. And rumor has it tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hands. And I guarantee it does, because I've tried it myself. And hopefully coming soon, the Big C cookie. And oftentimes, why did your cookie have to be so big? I heard that a lot growing up. My mother would always send me bear claw cookies when I was in college. I never found any bear claws in them, but they sure did taste good. Really do appreciate that. So many great things come to mind when I'm doing Big C Sports Show. And also the Big C cup of coffee. Sometimes we get one cup of coffee. What size? It's extra large. Why does a coffee cup gotta be so big? If you got too much, pour it in a smaller cup and save it for other people. All's fair in love and war. On a beautiful day for Big C Sports Podcast. Got a little bit of golf information. Great NBA basketball game last night. The Golden State Warriors knocked off the Denver Nuggets up in Denver last night. Steph Curry was doing his thing. Poole and also Thompson were doing their thing. They're still waiting for Draymond Green to come back. And then over in Philadelphia, you had the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant doing his thing, and Kyrie Irving was shutting down James Harden. It was just one game, but they were really raucous. That crowd was nuts, trying to get after a guy who wasn't even in the game. All that noise that they put forth, and the guy they were booing wasn't even in the game. I think it's a lot like the Duke and North Carolina game, and Coach Krzyzewski having his last home game for Duke and at Cameron Indoor Stadium, and the fans were just all over it. And the players maybe took on too much of a focus on the fanfare as opposed to doing the game, and I think that may have cost Philadelphia. They're probably a better team. I know they're a better team than they played last night, but all's fair in love and war when Brooklyn came to town, and at the end of the game, as Kevin Durant said, they didn't hear all the noise at the end of the game. They shut them up. And most of the fans they heard cheering were from Brooklyn. This is for you. Give Brooklyn some praise for showing up and making more noise than the 76ers fans at the end of the game. All's fair and level war. I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, we'll talk more about sports in the sports universe on a happy birthday Friday for Daisy. In the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we're back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe, and streaming on 4 TV applications as well. Really do appreciate that. Last night, I think we heard Philadelphia Freedom. Well, it didn't work last night. I know they had some fans showing up trying to make it really difficult for the Brooklyn Nets coming to town, but that was a lot of NBA, I guess you could call the tension in the air, Philadelphia, and all that hate that they had for whatever reason. I just found it ironic. They were booing a guy who didn't even play in the game. And I thought it took him out of the rhythm. And, I mean, Brooklyn had a great game, but it's ironic how they spent more time booing a player as opposed to cheering on their own team, and they deserved the loss, in my opinion. They were trying to make it more about Ben Simmons than it was about the players on the court, but that's how it rolls. All's fair and love and war. Tonight's NBA schedules, it's a big schedule for NBA basketball going over the weekend, and tonight we have Minnesota at Orlando. You have the Los Angeles Clippers at Atlanta down in the South. Detroit, they're at Boston. You know Boston's been playing really good basketball of late. And then Cleveland, this is for you. Not so fast, my friend. Two of LeBron James' older teams that won NBA Finals when King James played for them, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're at the Miami Heat. And you know, when it gets too hot in the kitchen, they say if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. We will see if they kick Cleveland out of the kitchen tonight down in Miami and South Beach. And then the Dallas Mavericks are playing really good ball with Luka Eurostep Doncic going down into Houston. That got the overtime win over the LA Lakers. That was inexcusable, according to Magic Johnson, All's fair and love and war. The New York Knickerbockers going down into the South, taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. They also have some Bear Cloud cookies down there in Memphis. It's on NBA TV, and you'll see John Morant get the chance to do his thing against Julius Randle. Also, the Charlotte, they're down in the South, in the deep South, where the Swampfish live, and that's the New Orleans Pelicans, and that's a game that maybe Charlotte should get, but New Orleans been playing a little bit better basketball of late. We'll see what happens. The Utah Jazz leaving the Wasatch Mountains, flying down into San Antonio, Texas, near the Riverwalk. They're going to see if they can knock off the San Antonio Spurs down in Texas. It's easier said than done. The Toronto Raptors are down into the heat of Arizona. You don't want to fly too close to that grill down in Phoenix. But the Toronto Raptors, they're going to fly down into Phoenix tonight and see if they can get a win over the hot and the rising Phoenix Suns. Even though they don't have Chris Paul, Phoenix is still playing great basketball. They went into Miami and took care of the Heat, even though Butler didn't play in that game. But they're still a formidable team. The Golden State Warriors, it feels like they're getting their groove back. They've won 2 in a row, and they've worked on some chemistry issues. And I'm telling you, Phoenix has to keep winning to have that number 1 seed. Golden State has caught Memphis to have the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Can't wait to see how that pans out down the stretch as we get through the month of March. And then you have Washington at the LA Lakers. It's a 7:30 p.m. tip-off on NBA TV. And I know the Lakers got to win this game. It's so important for them because they, ironically, are looking at missing the playoffs. And Los Angeles has 17 world championships. The Lakers do. And to miss the playoffs, it's not like that for any other cities. If you miss the playoffs, you may think, oh, well, we're going to build for next year. LA is not that way. Every year is a playoff or bust for the Lakers franchise. They've always been that way. I know people are hard on whether Russell and Westbrook is going to do his thing, and they're mad at Anthony Davis is not healthy, and LeBron James is doing all he can to get the Lakers over the playoff hump. But we'll see what happens. Washington's coming to town tonight at Crypto.com Arena, and it should be, you can't even say it should be a win for the Lakers. It should be, but how do you even say that now? Because sometimes it seems like they play down to the competition. If they could just get Russell Westbrook to penetrate more and dish off, I think that'll help get everybody else involved. But also over the weekend, I think there's some amazing games. Minnesota is at Miami, the big cat going on against Bam Adebayo and Butler, them good old boys. Cleveland is going to be in Chicago in the Windy City. Indiana, they're at San Antonio taking on the Spurs. The Toronto Raptors are up in the Mile High City taking on Denver. Denver's trying to get their groove back. Nikola Jokic is a problem to handle, but also Toronto's playing good basketball, and the Warriors handled Nikola Jokic. Moody boxed them out pretty good last night, but we'll see if Denver gets their grooves back. The Sacramento Kings up in the Wasatch Mountain taking on the Utah Jazz, and Washington will be at Portland. But the game that I want to see is on ABC. It's the defending NBA champion, Milwaukee Bucks, taking on the Golden State Warriors at 5:30 p.m. So you'll see NBA Finals last year, MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo, I call him King Giannis Antetokounmpo, coming in the beautiful Chase Center, taking on Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And now you can add in Poole with the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors need this win to keep the climb across the Western Conference, trying to get up and catch up with the Phoenix Suns. But they need the win for more than just that. They've already conquered Denver. They finally won a game against Denver. They're 1-3 against Denver. You say, that's not conquering Denver. Yes, it is, because they did it without Draymond Green. They're going to face probably the second big, I guess you could say the second best big man in the league in King Giannis Antetokounmpo. A lot of people think Joel Embiid gets that. I know the Joker's good too. But when you talk about athleticism and ability to dominate inside out, there's a lot of big men in this league. But if they can knock off the Milwaukee Bucks, I think that moves Golden State right back to their confidence. And they got to get the Warriors, the song back in the day, Warriors, come out and play. And hopefully when they do that, they'll hear Steph Curry for 3. They got to get that. Klay Thompson for 3. And Jordan Poole for 3. They got to get that. If they get more people shooting threes, they live by the 3, and sometimes they get bounced by shooting too many threes. So I'm looking for a good basketball over the weekend in Northern California. Golden State back in action, trying to do their thing, and it matters a lot for the Golden State Warriors. It matters so much for them because they found a winning formula last night. They found a way to win, and they didn't have Draymond Green. Moody can play some basketball, and he can box people out. He did a good job on the Joker last night. So we'll see what happens. There's so much to go into basketball. People say, well, we're getting ready for the playoffs. It's like the playoffs are already happening right now. So many great players are going to be getting ready for that nice playoff run, and I'm looking forward to it. I look so much to what happens in the world of basketball. Ben Simmons is going to get his sneakers laced up eventually for the Brooklyn Nets. Klay Thompson has already laced up his sneakers for the Golden State Warriors. Had to get his groove back, had to find his shot again, had to get his feet under him. He's been able to do that. Will we even see Zion Williamson for the New Orleans Pelicans later in the year? Don't know at all. And then Jamal Murray, he should be able to come back maybe in the playoffs. We'll see what happens if Malone lets him get into the lineup. And then Kawhi Leonard, don't even know the status of Kawhi Leonard. When he tore his knee in the playoffs a couple years ago, it didn't even seem that bad, but it was more hurtful than we thought. And then Kyrie Irving, what do you say about Kyrie Irving? Kyrie Irving is like Curly Neal from the Harlem Globetrotters with the ball. But he also played great defense on James Harden last night. And he was telling people, look, I got him. And he's not as big as Harden, but he knows the weaknesses of Harden because they played together for so many times when they were all in Brooklyn. But for whatever reason, they just didn't get along, and Harden ended up being with Philadelphia. I guess he didn't like the work ethic of Kyrie Irving. Kyrie does kind of bounce to a dream of his own drum beat, if that makes sense to you. But when Kyrie Irving wants to play basketball, he's really must-see TV. I know that may not sound good for the playoffs because you want players to play in every game. We still have this COVID issue. Will he be able to play when he's back home in Brooklyn? I have a feeling they're going to lift that protocol. They've done it in many other cities. I just feel they're going to do that because money puts a lot of pressure on people, just like Major League Baseball got back to playing because money puts a lot of pressure on people, and losing money made them come back too. So always thinking about some of the top players. Pay attention going down the stretch for the NBA playoffs. Keep an eye on guys like DeMar DeRozan, who never saw a basket he didn't want to take. Zach LaVine, the great Draymond Green, which I think would be the reason that Golden State Warriors will win the NBA championship this year. And I have them taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. We will see. That's just what it feels like. 75th year anniversary of the Warriors in Northern California. They went to San Francisco, went over to Oakland. Now they're back in San Francisco. They left Philadelphia, and both teams are riding high across the Western and Eastern Conference. It would be dynamic to see the Golden State three-point shooters against the good boys from Philadelphia trying to deal with Joel Embiid and seeing if Moody can handle Joel Embiid. And then the two Curry brothers shooting it out from three. I just feel that basketball, Doc Rivers and Coach Kerr going up against each other. Northern California versus the East Coast, West Coast. And both teams have great shooters. There's a lot of chemistry going on in Oakland or San Francisco now. A lot of chemistry in Philadelphia, irrespective of what happened last night. We'll see what happens. Also, keep in mind for this playoff push for NBA basketball, the great John Morant down at Memphis, he will be doing his thing throughout the playoffs. I don't think they're going to reach the Western Conference Finals, but they're a good team that's going to win the first round game. They're just going to. They're a good team. They're going to be a tough out. I do think they'll finish as a number 3 seed in the Western Conference, but this, to me, it's about Golden State and Phoenix. But Memphis could knock somebody off too. They really could. I just don't think they will. Don't think they're ready yet. Great Paul George. Jimmy Butler's going to do his thing for the Miami Heat. Just got to keep him healthy. Bradley Beal not going to make much of an emphasis. But to think about this, Anthony Davis for the LA Lakers, they need him because the Lakers are maybe looking at a play-in game. I know a lot of it depends on how they do in the next couple of games because if they keep slipping down the totem pole, down the San Gabriel Mountains, they may slip all the way out into the Pacific Ocean, and that would make a big splash. Maybe like thunder. Oh, Lord have mercy. They got to find a way to get in the playoffs. The NBA, they may have to turn a blind eye to a foul every now and then if King James is going to get into the playoffs. But they can do it. I really like, even going back to the East Coast, Jimmy Butler. There were early season MVP talks, may have subsided now, but he's really one of the top players in all of basketball, especially the way he brings that swagger to the court. He's a lot like, don't laugh at me, but Russell Westbrook. They play with a lot of energy, high intensity. And Butler's done it all, but he has his big friends, Bam Adebayo, helping him out, Tyler Herro. They can shoot threes. They can get down in the paint and mix it up. But I also like coming out of the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia 76ers. Irrespective of last night, I think they got too much emotion into booing a guy who wasn't even playing in the game. And it affects players too. Even if people say it doesn't affect players, it does affect players. But if you have him, he's going to do his thing, the great Joel Embiid. And I just feel like NBA basketball is so amazing right now, watching the way the games are played. And no matter what people think about Curry, I think Curry's amazing. As I say, happy birthday to my beautiful daughter, Daisy Curry, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. Well, Stephen Curry, that good boy, the greatest shooter in the history of the NBA universe, at least three-point shooter. We'll leave it at that. I know Kevin Durant can also do his thing. But what I love about the three-point king, he went over 20,000 points for his career last night. He did it in the Mile High City in Denver, Colorado. When you think about how he gets better and better with time, there's been some talk about, well, he doesn't do well in the playoffs. if someone can remind themselves when they say that crap, when they say that blip, he has 3 NBA championships, and he's been to 5 NBA finals. There's a lot of players that talk crap about Curry. They don't have any championships. None. 0, if that makes sense to you. But I think he can lead that team. Moody showed me a lot last night how he can handle a big man and the Joker. And then you have Thompson finding his groove back. And Poole, he can hit the 3 just like Curry. I really like this team in Golden State. And when you think about, Golden State, they're not what they were. I mean, they had a tough time winning the last 10 games. If they've had a tough time and they're still the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, second best record in the league, what does that tell you about them? If you can have a rough spot, some turbulence in your life, and you're still the number 2 seed, that says a lot about you. I'm not saying they're going to catch Phoenix because there would have to be a lot of losing by Phoenix coming down the back 9, a golf metaphor if that makes sense to you. But they're right there knocking on the door. Somebody's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor, don't open the door and let them in. Okay, I messed up that song. But you know what I mean. I think we have a great showcase of NBA basketball. And Major League Baseball, basketball is so good, even Major League Baseball said, wait a minute, we need to get back and start playing again. So I look forward to that and wishing all the best to all the great players out there in the NBA basketball universe. I want to also touch on the selection committee for NCAA college basketball. They have the selection committee coming up this Sunday over the weekend. Right now we have a lot of conference championship games going on. And so selection committee for Sunday, and they're going to have the Division I's men's and women's basketball tournaments. And that's going to be Sunday, March 13th. The 68-team men's field will be announced at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on CBS Sports. And the women's 68-team field will be announced at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. And we look forward to how these games will open up. And for the women's tournament, 4 opening round games will be played on Wednesday, March 16th through March 17th. First and second round games will be played Friday, March 18th through Monday, March 21st at top 16 seeds. And then the regionals are March 25th through the 28th. And the Final Four is April 1st. And the national championship game is April 3rd at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So that's going to happen for the women. And obviously they don't get the same type of press coverage that the men do in the Division I, but they're actually playing great basketball. Really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to a lot of great basketball. When you think about all of the great men's basketball teams out there, how far will they go? We know Baylor just got knocked off. I think UCLA is going to play strong down the stretch. I still have Arizona as winning the national championship. I think you'll also find that Auburn will find their way around the national championship game. And I wouldn't look too far past maybe Illinois. They got knocked out last year the first round. I think they're going to be driven this year. But I have no dog in the fight. Speaking of dogs in the fight, Gonzaga, the Bulldogs, I know they've been many people's number 1 team over the years. They were number 1 start to finish last year. But when they played against a really physical team, they got bounced. And they've shown that they can be had, if that makes sense. Auburn, the Tigers, they received the number 2 overall seed when the selection committee revealed its top 16 teams in the country. Even though they lost later the afternoon, it's just the 3rd loss of the season. They're a good team. Auburn's going to make some noise. They have one of the better players in the country also. Bruce Pearl's going to have that team ready for the Final Four. I know basketball's about big-time players making big-time plays. And we're going to see a lot of that too. Looking forward to that because that's what we all care about. We want to see the best time or the big-time players make big-time plays. In college basketball, when I was younger growing up, I could see Lou Alcindor play for UCLA and how he did his thing for 3 years. They had the 88-game win streak. I saw Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon play doing his thing for the Houston Cougars way back in the day. Saw Reggie Miller doing his thing for the UCLA Bruins. I really love how we had the players that lasted more than a cup of coffee, and then the great Bill Walton also doing his thing at UCLA back in the day. Everybody has their own thoughts. The great Patrick Ewing for Georgetown when he was doing his thing. Grandmama who did his thing for the UNLV Running Rebels back in the days of Jerry Tarkanian. There's so many great basketball players, and I love seeing them play. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, when they did their thing, Indiana State versus Michigan State, way back in the day, I think it was 1978, and that brought college basketball more so to television during prime time. Now people can build their whole evening around, make sure they get that game in. So a lot of the good players that we don't know who they are now because they're just one and done. They're all over the place. When I was growing up, not that I'm having revisionist history, I liked it more when the players could stay with their organization or with their team for more than a cup of coffee, and it helped people get to know more about who they are. So I really do appreciate that. Everybody loves NBA basketball, and we love college basketball. It's all great. It's all fair and level work. So give all the teams looking for the selection committee some praise, and then you get chosen to play and have that chance for one shining moment. One shining moment. The great late Teddy Pendergrass saying that all's fair and level work. I want to just say, for Major League Baseball, I'm so glad we have Major League Baseball. In fact, I think we're going to start, spring training starts over the weekend, Sunday. So it's a busy Sunday. And then they're going to try to start the first week of Major League Baseball. Opening day will be April the 7th. So there's a lot going on in that. And then just thinking about where baseball stands, there's still some top players out there in free agency. When we last saw the free agent market, teams around the Major League Baseball were snapping up players like vacuum cleaners snap up dirt. And when you think about it, more than $1.6 billion in free agent contracts were handed out prior to December the 2nd. That's a lot of money. And $1 billion on December 1st alone. Think about that, and they were putting that on pause. That doesn't make any sense. So now with all the leagues set to open up on Sunday, remaining free agents are now going to look to find homes for 2022 and beyond. To infinity and beyond. I got to get my producer to pay attention to that one. To infinity and beyond. That sounds better for the soundbite. The great Radio Raheem, wake up from Do the Right Thing. So looking at some of the players, may have already been signed by the time the show ends today. But Chris Bryant, third baseman and left field, former National League Rookie of the Year and Most Valuable Player. Bryant also played a key role for the Cubs in 2016 in their championship team. So things are going to happen with him. Nick Castellano, right fielder, after opting out of the final 2 years and $34 million of his contract with the Cincinnati Reds. He's hoping now to capitalize on his stellar 2021 season going into the 2022 season. The right fielder set career highs with 34 home runs, and the guy is a great player. We'll see what happens, who snacks him up. And then Carlos Carrera, shortstop, has been the consensus top free agent since the offseason began. Did not cash in quickly like some others did. Carrera actually changed agents in January. Hopefully he'll sign with Charlton Curry of Big C Sports. Give that some praise. Hey, you got to ask for it. You got to ask for it. You have not because you asked now. Hopefully our agency that I'm joining will sign him. But when you think about it, he dissed the William Morris endeavor in favor of another high-ranking agent who's kind of a competitor, so I won't even mention his name. But joining forces and got a shortstop, Corey Seager, a 10-year, $325 million deal with the Rangers. A lot of good things happen in baseball. Freddie Freeman, first baseman, once considered formality that Freeman and the Braves would work out a new deal to keep the All-Star in Atlanta. And again, things are going on even as I speak, but no longer a given. Several teams, including the Dodgers, would be a great place for him to land with the Dodgers. And the Yankees, that would be a loaded team also. The Rangers, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays. Now, it's rare that a team wins back-to-back World Series. So staying in Atlanta may not be the best place for him, but it's all based on money. When you think about Los Angeles, kind of a player that kind of makes you kind of scroll around in your seat at times. Kenley Jensen, right-hand pitcher. The relief market wasn't particularly strong entering the offseason. Now, I know there's a lot of good players out there as closers. Jensen had a solid 2021 season with his lowest ERA of 2.22 since 2017, leaving him as the top late-inning bullpen option in the market. But sometimes in L.A., people don't tend to appreciate it, and it kind of makes you sit on the edge of your feet or the edge of your seat sometimes when he's in there as a closer. We've seen him get yarded on sometimes in baseball. And one of the things that people would hate in Dodger Stadium, Sylvester Ravine, the count's full, runners on first and second. The Dodgers up 7-6. Jansen to close out the pitch. Slung on, hit deep. Right field, back to the wall, home run! Say hello to my little friend. And that's at the visiting stadium, of course. Obviously, that's a visiting stadium picture. And the fans, obviously, the Chavez Ravine, they didn't want to hear that noise. But that's something that happens when you have Jensen on the mound. It's all fair and love and war. Really appreciate him. Also, Kyle Scherber, first baseman, left fielder, and also a designated hitter, had a huge bounce-back season in 2021. 32 home runs and had just 113 games with the National and Red Sox. The outfielder and the DH even added first base to his resume. The good old boy played 10 games there for Boston, and the addition of the universal DH should open up some jobs in the National League as well. I think the National League is going to love the DH, all's fair and love and war. There's a lot of good things going on in baseball. I want to end it with Trevor Story, unable to cash in prior to the lockout, watching Sager and Marcus Semien, 7-year, $175 million deal with the Rangers. Javier Baez, 6 years, $140 million with the Tigers, signed 9-figure deals and his lofty standards. Story's coming off of a subpar 2021 season, but I think he'll sign fine and have a better year this year than he did last year. You know, the thing about Major League Baseball, I love the game. It's amazing. So many people love Major League Baseball. It's been something that 99 days not having an agreement, and now cooler heads have prevailed, and they brought back baseball, whether you're in San Francisco, whether in New York City, Los Angeles, Milwaukee. Doesn't matter where you are. People love baseball. It's a great time out. Families get together, friends get together, and go watch some baseball being played. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they would do on this beautiful 2022 baseball season, because we all look forward to it. It creates jobs in the ancillary markets, whether it's restaurants outside of the stadiums, concession workers inside of the stadiums, people that paint the fields. So baseball hit a home run, and I know Manfred was happy to say he's really relieved to have baseball back. And I always love that baseball's there. It's for the fans. It's a fans game. Just to retract to last night in Denver, there was a young girl that they showcased on TNT, and she had a Steph Curry MVP sign. And Steph Curry went over and took a picture with her. And the young girl was very elated to have that. And they were asking him what it means to him. And it wasn't just an answer that you say, oh yeah, it's great to be here to entertain the fans. He really talked about how the fans make the game. And now he appreciates when someone shows love for him and the Golden State Warriors. And that's what baseball was about to lose out on. As a young boy, I remember when I was a young boy and coming around San Francisco, we would actually sneak into Candlestick Park. Me and some friends of mine and my brothers, we would sneak into Candlestick Park until someone got wise and put in security systems. But we would have fun just going around trying to see the players. And I think baseball, they understand that. They're going to have the chance to make amends. It doesn't mean they're going to make everybody happy, but they got to find something. Because just because they allowed baseball to come back, you look down at the happiest place on earth, Disneyland, Anaheim. Oftentimes you can look in that ballpark and it's not a full ballpark. It's not. And it may be full for the first series. But people right now are dealing with all kind of issues. It doesn't mean they're going to fill the ballparks. Especially people might have a little bit of residue by saying, man, they made us wait. We'll make them wait before they go out and fill the ballparks. I don't know. I know it's a great game, but you can only do that so many times and make people wait for something that they should not have to wait for. So I wish baseball the very best. And as I love saying, one of my favorite pitches, my pitch counts in baseball. Hopefully Big C Sports will call a couple of games, Major League Baseball this year. Runners on first and third that counts for the pitch. Swung on, here deep, right field, back to the wall, home run! Say hello to my little friends. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep, and I hope they hit deep in Major League Baseball. Also some news in the NFL. Deshaun Watson, when you look at him finding a landing spot, a grand jury had declined to indict Deshaun Watson on Friday so the Houston Texans can quickly aim to trade their quarterback. So he's through a lot of his legal issues. He still has some civil issues that he may have to deal with also. And the Eagles make Jason Kelce the NFL's highest paid center, and he'll make in 2022 enough money to buy several Big C burgers. They're tasty burgers, and they come with, what's all this exotic meat? They taste better in your mouth than they do in your hand, so I'm sure he'll have that to eat on as well. And also, Malcolm Butler visiting the Texas, and then Desmond King could return. Veteran free agent cornerback Malcolm Butler, a two-time former New England Patriots Pro Bowl selection and Super Bowl hero. He's getting some things going on with him and his chance to land down in Houston. But I think when you think about Deshaun Watson, not going to face any criminal charges, and an emotional moment for him, he says. The latest news on Deshaun Watson, the Texans all-pro quarterback, take the Fifth Amendment deposition. We had this grand jury convenes. And I'm telling you, I know that's a lot of stress off of him. I still say anyone has a right to face the accuser. All's fair in love and war. No one really knows what happens in those situations. But you should always have a right to face your accuser and not just be guilty because you're accused of things. And I don't know the situation. I always advocate there's no excuse for racism or domestic violence. And no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And I really mean that. And I also know that you can be accused of anything. But you should also have a right to face your accuser. Everybody has their own thoughts about how they ferret out justice. So I'm glad that he had the chance to go through the court process and see how that works for him. And also the people involved made things work out where they all land on their feet. The 2022 Players' Championship, weather halts the second straight day with a three-way tie at the top. Suspended the first round of the 2022 Players' Championship, resumed early on Friday morning, but did not conclude after enduring an early downpour. Sometimes, the only thing that can stop golf sometimes is a little bit of thunder and lightning. And when you have the lightning going on, you want to put the golf clubs away. And the players were pulled off the course at about 11:15 a.m. Eastern time, with round two just about to start as round one headed toward a close. Instead, they're going to have the round complete tomorrow on Saturday morning, but will start no earlier than 11 a.m., which means that on Saturday afternoon, when the weekend leaders are normally preparing to tee off, we'll just be getting ready for round two. And players like John Rahm and Will Zalatoris, who played early on Thursday night, might not get a shot again until Sunday, depending on the delays and how the weather cooperates. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening with the golf tournaments, and hopefully they'll have a chance to tee off depending on how well the weather will light up on them. So everybody, wish your very best on the golf courses. You know, something amazing too when it comes to golf, whether it's Tommy Fleetwood, 6 under, Tom Hogue, there's a lot of good players in golf. The leaderboard is going to change because the weather changes things whenever you have inclement weather. It changes things all the time. Nothing a lot of the players can do about it. So whether it's Fleetwood, he's 6 under, Hogue is 6 under, Garnett is also 6 under, and then Hickok is 5 under. So we have a 3-way tie at the leaderboard right now, but it doesn't mean they're going to win this tournament because who knows? Weather can change. The way people play the course can change. The irons can change. The greens can change. All of that can change. All of it's going to change. It's just part of the game of golf. So I really do appreciate having a great leadoff for Major League Baseball. On Sunday, they'll have the spring training start. Opening day set for April 7th, 2022 at a ballpark near you. And may they all have the very best of everything they're looking for. I love sports. NBA basketball, some great games coming up over the weekend. NFL football, players deciding where they're going to sign. They all deserve the very best. And I think it's going to be great for the people who actually get to work around the sport, that they can also have a full season. For all the fans that have been missing Major League Baseball, we missed a lot during COVID. It was 2 years ago that COVID put sports on pause. I think the Utah Jazz were playing in a game, and it went on pause. And now it's back. Depending on how COVID is affecting people all over the country, still pay attention to the CDC, whether you're wearing a mask or not. There's still some numbers in different states that are still rising. Just because they said you can take your mask off, it doesn't mean the virus is gone. So please do whatever you got to do to stay safe. No matter if the thunderstorm coming or not, you still got to stay safe with COVID roaming around, and make sure you do whatever you can to stay safe in this world. I do want to just close out today's show with saying, as I started the show, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daisy. Happy birthday to you. I wish you many more. The most beautiful daughter ever in the history of the universe. On this beautiful date. And may she have everything her heart desires. She deserves it. May all good things come to you, as I always ask God to give you everything your heart desires. Like Genesis 13:15. For all the land that thou seest will I give you. Daisy, happy birthday. I love you more than life itself. As we always tell you, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Gordini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. And he would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? Ali would say, I'm so pretty I can't possibly be beat. All these big C burgers make me light up my feet. That's why I'm always rumbling. Because of the big C burger and the big C coffee comes in one size extra large. Imagine having a pint after you take a whole gallon of coffee. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help. Because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday.